Hi, you guys, and welcome to Gossip Streaming with me. Your host, as it is, pull it up, and we can get our intro going, which is literally just zooming in on some gossip streaming ups. It's like spill sesh, but as is what my husband called it. He's like, "You ready to do your gossip streamer stuff? You watch your gossip streamers?" And it makes me laugh. So today, a few things we're talking about is Gabby Hannah, Trisha Paytas, because they're in hot water again, and Amber Heard, because I don't know if you keep up with all that stuff, but I do. Anytime there's a new article, there's a new video about Amber Heard and her lawsuit with uh, Johnny Depp, I'm like, I gotta know. I gotta be in the know. You're like me, now you can be in the know with me. A few articles pulled up about Amber Heard, so we'll do that last. I have a video, so you can see the videos on Trisha Paytas. You can watch Trisha's video if you want. Honestly, I don't want to. I don't want to continue supporting them by watching it. I want to say continue. I never watch their videos. And I don't want to start supporting them now, considering they're like a really terrible friend, backstabber. Not into that. We're not here for that. Those are not the vibes we came here for, okay? And then we're gonna start off with Gabby Hannah. So Gabby Hannah, she hasn't recently added to her video diaries collection thing where she's going over all of her past traumas, and explaining why it's not her, it's their people involved's fault that her career on the internet is ruined. And my thesis statement for this whole thing is, you're an adult, act like it. Because, and I'm not saying because you're an adult, your feelings can't be valid. Like, if Gabby Hannah's really hurt by what happened, like, on Escape the Night, her friends told her everything was fine, but it wasn't. But at that point, they weren't talking to her from a friend point of view. They're talking to her from like a co-worker, like, I'm trying to ease your way out point of view. So, if she didn't catch that, switch of the dynamic, that sucks for her. And, when they stopped talking to her, that would be hurt, But this is something that I learned in therapy, because, therapy's great when you go to therapy, is that, there's the child part of you that sometimes when we get so upset about things, we react in the way that we would when we were kids. Where we're like screaming, throwing a tantrum, blaming everybody but ourselves, not taking any responsibility. Throwing a tantrum, not taking any responsibility is how a child acts, actually. But an adult would look at a situation, see how they found they could be at fault for some things, apologizing for the things they did, and if the person who hurt them doesn't apologize back, you have to let it go. You can't hold on to it, because how much energy is that? So, in a lot of these situations, I don't think Gabby Hannah is acting like the adult. Absolutely fucking not. She is not acting like an adult at all. And it's really, and it just gives bad vibes, honestly, which is, I think, is such a vague term now, because not everyone, like, when they interact with someone, like, gets a vibe off of somebody, where it's like, I don't know what it is about you, but something's off. Like that, that's a vibe. Not just like the vibe of the room, which is like the decor. Feng shui is a different thing. Whatever. I'm rambling. I'm also messing with this hair tie because I can't think and sit still. But all of her video diaries, they're about how other people have hurt her, or how she has adopted other people's traumatic experiences onto herself. Like Jessie Smiles, we're not going to talk about what happened to Jessie Smiles. If you don't know, you can go to her YouTube channel and find out what happened. It's really traumatic. Something that I share similarities with. So I really feel her on this. And if I had someone that was a friend and wanted to hear out the person who hurt me, I would be like, we're fucking done. We're done. We're not friends. No. 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 And so Gabby Hannah is playing down what she said to what's happened between her and Jessie Smiles by saying they weren't even that close. Right? But she's upplaying what's going on with Trisha, saying me and Trisha were really good friends, but now they're acting like we weren't friends. Which is exactly what Gabby Hannah's doing right now. Which is also interesting because on Escape the Night, Tana's come out and said that, you know, she would respond to Gabby Hannah's texts and be nice to her, whatever, just because it was so awkward. And Gabby Hannah is kind of like aggressive and intimidating, and it's like, I guess I'll just be nice so that I don't get yelled at, which is, you know, could have been the situation that Trisha was also in. So it wasn't really a friendship. It was like Gabby Hannah was upplaying those two relationships as real friendships when she was Jessie Smiles' roommate. And they went to parties and stuff all together all the time. And the main thing that Gabby's really upset about is that, or no, Jessie Smiles is really upset about is that Gabby had apologized to her and then later said that the things that she apologized for never happened, which is like basically saying you're not really sorry because you're lying about the things that you did, that you apologized for. So you aren't going to own up to it and say, yeah, that happened, terrible thing to do, but I apologize. But I apologize for it. Me and Jessie Smiles are good. Then obviously you really didn't mean your apology if you're going to lie and say you never did it. You didn't learn from it. Which she hasn't. She keeps lying about things. There's obvious evidence. It's kind of stupid. And she's also upset. Jessie Smiles is also upset at Gabby Hannah for wanting to hear out the person that hurt Jessie Smiles, saying everyone deserves a chance to be heard. Even when said person pled guilty, I think they've already made their claim. They don't need you to hear them out. Also, Gabby Hannah went up to the person to talk to them, to hear them out. Not that person came up to Gabby Hannah and was like, please, I just need someone to hear me out. Gabby Hannah went up to them, wanted to hear them out. Interesting. But then, Jessie Smiles and Gabby Hannah were on a 3-hour-long conversation on the phone because Jessie Smiles was like, hey, you doing this really hurt my feelings. Gabby Hannah refused to hear Jessie Smiles out about how it hurt her feelings because that requires her to acknowledge that she messed up. So she refused to hear her out and barely let Jessie Smiles speak during that conversation. Told her everything she was saying was wrong, which is kind of gaslighty. We're actually going to try and change someone's perspective on something, which she did to Trisha Paytas in their podcast episode they did together, where she told, where Gabby Hannah told Trisha, no, we totally did this. We did this. Why don't you remember this? And then later confirmed with Trisha, yeah, no, I made that up. That wasn't true. It's gaslighting. Trying to change someone's reality, make it seem like their fault. Like, Gabby Hannah even went as far to say that Jessie Smiles was crying to get pity. Sorry, whenever I talk about the thing that happened and I have to, actually fully put my mind in that mindset of that memory of what happened, I also cry. Like the first time I told my therapist what happened, it was just like a very bland statement of, oh yeah, this happened to me. Tears falling, but like my face is like, hey, tears. Like, it's emotional shit, and it's scarring, and that's why really encourage people to go to therapy. Find the cheapest place, the person who listens to you and motivates you, gives you homework on things to do. Like, I'm not really good with boundaries. And my sending me work on that, which is good because now I realize I really have no fucking boundaries at all. I have more boundaries with myself to make sure that I don't feel how I'm feeling, so that when I let people break my boundaries, it doesn't upset me. That's what I've learned for myself. But yeah, and I think Jessie Smiles. I don't know if Jessie Smiles has gone to therapy about what has happened to her, but if she hasn't, I would highly encourage it because it's important to work through that trauma. Because if you don't work through trauma, it's just going to sit there right below the surface, and it's not going to help. I don't know what working through your trauma looks like because I'm in the beginning process of mine. Because I thought, well, if I just ignore it for a couple of years, then it'll not be as bad. Well, guess what? That's not true. Okay, so let's pull up what's going on with Trisha Paytas since we've talked about her so much now. So, Trisha, what are they doing? I don't know what they're doing. So Ethan Klein is married to his wife. That was stupid. His wife is the sister of Trisha Paytas' fiance. Actually, did they get married? I don't remember if they got married or not. I think they're just very straight. Could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Ethan, Trisha, they were on a podcast together. They went from enemies to friends. Why it's called frenemies. Well, that burst into flames, fell apart, terrible. Which I think I've talked about on my podcast before, which is Advice and Shit. Good podcast in my opinion. Check it out. Trisha, they did something that was really bad to Ethan. So they went on Keemstar's podcast, which also, Keemstar, really? Who the fuck watches that? Like, who watches that? I don't get it. I don't like Keemstar for a lot of things. Keemstar does not believe Jessie Smiles about what happened. And for that one reason, I could not like the man. For the other reasons, that was the most recent reason I learned about him, why I don't like him. You know what? Fuck you, dude. Don't believe victims? Fuck you. Anyways. Blood's boiling beneath the surface. Okay, so Trisha went on Keemstar's podcast, which is really bad for them to do because Ethan Klein's, like, I guess, worst enemy is Keemstar because he was just really rude to Ethan Klein. I don't know the backstory. All I know is that, like, Ethan Klein are not on good terms. And Trisha had called out Keemstar on her enemy's podcast, and then Keemstar called them out on Twitter and said, you should come on our podcast. And then she did. Because Trisha was going off about how, like, his girlfriend is like a baby, like, not like a baby, but like really young compared to him. It's disgusting. Which, yeah, right? Not, like, it's not disgusting for, this is an opinion piece right here. This is not factual based, my opinion. I think whenever the person who's a lot older, boy or girl, whoever, they're dating someone a lot younger, it's a power imbalance, and it's kind of icky to me. Especially if those two people aren't in the same life cycles, like, they're a lot older, but y'all are in the same life cycle. That makes sense. You know, like, if someone's 23, the other person's 28, that's a 5-year age gap. Seems like a lot. But if, you know, you're both in life working, and you both are like, I want to get married within the next couple of years and have kids, you know, you're heading towards the same life cycles, makes sense to get together. But if one of you's still in school, like, one of you is, maybe you're in college, and the other person's working, you know, that's even hard to do when people are near the same age, because you're doing completely different things. You know, the person working has their own stresses that the person at school doesn't get. The person at school may not feel like the person working understands their struggles, because yes, they're only taking like 4 classes, but you're doing all this stuff. You have all this homework and all that stuff. So it's already hard with someone that is your age. But then if you're with someone who is, you know, a lot older, it could be like they've already gone through school, and it could be nice to have some advice. That could be a nice thing. But you know, that person's constantly above you in a way, which isn't good. So that was Trisha's thing, and I kind of understand what they were coming from with that. But you don't go on Keemstar's podcast, you know. And so then Trisha went off and said in 42 minutes, I think this is, yes, 42 minutes, 50 seconds, about, which also, why is that your top picture? I wouldn't have picked that picture, to be honest. Trisha was saying that, you know, if Ethan wanted to have, like, David Dobrik, her enemy, or Gabby Hannah on his podcast, her other enemy, on the family's podcast, the replacement of frenemies, Trisha Paytas would be fine with it. No, she wouldn't. Like, last week, she was upset because, or, no, they wouldn't. Because last week, Trisha Paytas was upset that Gabby Hannah and them were in this, had their names together in the title. You think you think they're gonna be okay when Ethan puts Gabby Hannah on the podcast? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not gonna happen. So, no. No. It's not gonna happen. And Ethan had even said that, like, right after Trisha left the podcast, I got a message from Gabby Hannah saying, hey, I want to join your podcast. Let's stir shit up. Ethan was like, no, there's even some things I wouldn't do to hurt somebody. Because, you know, they were friends. They were coworkers, very basic level. They were friends, a high level, and now they're family, even higher level. And you're gonna treat that person like that? It's really shady. And then Trisha was saying how they didn't stop being friends with Ryland and Shane Dawson because of Jeffree Star being on Ryland's podcast. No, they stopped being friends with Ryland for different reasons. When there's evidence on the Frenemies podcast that's why Trisha stopped being friends with them, and Trisha would just appreciate they had deleted the podcast with Jeffree Star because they were just, Ryland and Shane were just giving Jeffree Star a platform, which is exactly what Trisha is doing with Keemstar right now. Kind of hypocrite, don't you think? I think so. There's a person outside my window that's gross and weird. You. Yeah. Now, I think that's enough about that. I may have talked about that another time. But now on to the Amber Heard stuff. So, Amber Heard. If this would load. She does have Aquaman, and she looks exhausted. Basically, apparently, it seems like that. I don't know why is a video popping up. Gross. It seems like Amber Heard is not doing well on the set. She is not in the same shape as everyone that's on set, which I think some people could say, why does it matter if she's in shape or not? That shouldn't matter for the movie, but all body sizes are beautiful. Absolutely, all body sizes are beautiful. Not a question. But being able to do the requirements of your job is really important, because acting isn't just like those little TikTok things you see where people like change their faces or whatever. Like, they're having to go swimming. They're having to go like run and do things that involve being in shape to a certain level of being in shape, being able to move so much. And she's not in that shape. So that's what these articles are about. That she looks exhausted. She's not in the shape she's supposed to be in. And she blames her lawsuit with, or no, not the lawsuit, sorry. She's blaming Johnny Depp for the fitness issues. That, like, PTSD from her abuse is why it's hard for her to be in shape. Which some people would say she was in shape for the first movie, so what's the problem now? Well, dealing with abuse and like mental flashbacks, ebbs and flows on how hard it is. But is she a victim of abuse? To be determined. I vote no. If she truly is, I feel bad saying that. But the evidence is pointing to Johnny Depp being the one who was hit. Because she said that in a recording. She said, I didn't hit you. My hand was in a full fist. Sorry. Even if I like slap you across the face, I still count that as hitting because I literally hit you with my body. I hit you. No. So that and other evidence of the sort is why I don't know. I know what I believe at the moment, and it's not in favor of Amber Heard. So if she was a victim, it could be because she is going through the court system and having to relive a lot of her trauma. But on the flip side of that, if she's not actually the one who was being abused and is in fact the abuser, the reason she's not doing good emotionally is because she thinks she's going to lose the lawsuit. And that will really mess up her career. Because her being out of shape, really, like, follow through. Apparently she's drinking a lot, all like wine in between takes. That's what I read. I don't know if it's true or not. It's interesting though, if that's the case. So that can't, those can all be parts of things that stem from mental health problems that she could be having if she was the victim. Is she the victim? I don't know. I think these are things stemming from stress of thinking she could lose her lawsuit. That was this article that came out, and that's part of her contract to be an Aquaman 2, is being in shape to do the scenes. Like, do the physical things that you have to do. So maybe we don't have to boycott Aquaman 2 because maybe they'll replace her. That is my vote, but this is not the first article I've read that said Amber Amber Heard got fired from Aquaman 2. Then she didn't. So, we'll just have to see how it goes. But that is it for today. I hope you have a great day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. I'm live streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I know it is... Oh, shit. I live stream on Monday and Wednesday. I didn't get home till like 9 p.m. yesterday from work, so that's why I didn't live stream, because I was like freaking exhausted. I'm going to upload the videos of the live stream to YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I'll upload this video to YouTube right after I'm recording. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye!